In order to test whether her husband was truly faithful, the woman deliberately installed a secret room behind the mirror. After everything was set up, she left behind a breakup letter. Then she hid in the secret room, quietly waiting for her husband's reaction. When she saw her husband weeping uncontrollably with tears streaming down his face, she immediately took out her phone, recorded a video, and sent it to her best friend. She boasted that her husband still loved her deeply. However, her husband's sorrowful appearance made her deeply regret it. She decided to stop the test and prepared to leave the secret room. But the key to the secret room wouldn't open the door no matter what. She hurriedly grabbed her phone and called her best friend for help, but found that her phone had no signal. She became completely frantic. She began frantically banging on the glass, shouting for her husband's rescue. But when she first installed the secret room, she had specifically made it shockproof and soundproof, so that her husband outside couldn't hear her cries for help at all. At this moment, she was filled with regret, thinking that since her husband loved her so much, she should never have conducted this pointless test. After calming down, she picked up a hairpin and tried to use it to unlock the door, but due to applying too much force, she accidentally cut her hand. She gritted her teeth and tore off a corner of her skirt, and quickly bandaged the wound. Perhaps due to excessive tension and fatigue, she unknowingly fell asleep. When she opened her eyes again, she was horrified to discover that there was an extra woman in the house. At that moment, she realized that her husband had been cheating on her. She had secretly eavesdropped on their conversation in the secret room, and learned that her husband was with her only to get her company. The woman was immediately consumed by rage. She silently vowed that once she left the secret room, she would make them pay a terrible price for what they had done. At that moment, the woman noticed that the mistress's earrings looked very familiar, because these earrings were a birthday gift she had given to her best friend, a one-of-a-kind pair that she had specially ordered at a high price. The woman could hardly believe her eyes. After all, her best friend had been her playmate since childhood, and she never expected that her husband and best friend would betray her. When her best friend turned her face away, she realized that she had been deceived all along. The secret room had been designed in collaboration with her best friend, allowing her to clearly see and hear everything happening outside, while outsiders would only see an ordinary mirror. Yet it could also capture sounds from the outside. Since her husband had been increasingly cold and unwilling to be affectionate lately, the woman began to suspect that her husband had another lover, so she asked her best friend to investigate the situation. At that time, her best friend pretended to show concern, advising her that this might not be the best idea. The woman insisted that she could leave at any time using the secret room key, but she was unaware that her best friend had secretly swapped the key, and her husband was completely oblivious to this. All of this was a meticulously planned trap by her best friend. What broke her heart even more was that her husband could not resist her best friend's temptation. In her despair, the woman frantically pounded on the door, but there was no response at all. At that moment, her heart was filled with endless sorrow. She couldn't understand why her husband would treat her this way. Soon after, she heard the sound of her husband washing up, and quickly got up to check the situation. Seeing her husband's indifferent demeanor, the more the woman thought about it, the angrier she became. In order to take revenge on him, she turned on the hot water valve, a move that actually startled her husband. He wondered if the hot water valve was malfunctioning, remembering that his wife had mentioned that the hot water valve was hidden behind the mirror, so he reached out to open the mirror. The woman thought that she